Hey guys, I'm Dr. Anthony Gustin.
And I'm Chris Irvin.
And this is question number 89 of 268 questions from Keto Answers, a book we just published that helps lay out every single question you might have about the ketogenic diet and answers it really simply.
Yeah, so this video we're going to be answering the question, how long does it take to get into ketosis? I think it's like 3 hours and 42 minutes.
I
didn't read the research
in 17 seconds.
Yeah, that's what it is. 3 hours, 42 minutes and 17 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, this is something where it depends wildly per person.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, with a ketogenic diet, you're switching your metabolism to do something completely different. Mm-hmm. So if you've literally never fasted for over 12 hours, you've never eaten a day with under 200 carbohydrates, which is common for a lot of people.
Right.
I mean, this is what happens.
Yeah.
You're going to have a really hard time to switch over that cellular machinery to use ketones and start breaking them down. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you actually have receptors on your cells that need to change over. You know, we need to downregulate some carbohydrate ones, and we need to upregulate some fat ones, some ketone, to allow the ketones into your cells. Mm-hmm. Completely different for everybody.
Yeah, and I think that actually brings up a really good point of like, what's the difference between getting into ketosis and actually like being keto adapted, right, which I think is important to touch on here. So for most people out there, you know, you can get into ketosis as you would read on a blood meter within, you know, just several hours of being carbohydrate restricted.
Yeah, right. But this only means that you have ketones flowing around your bloodstream.
Right.
It does not mean that you're putting them into your cells and burning them as energy.
Yeah, and that's something that we know takes a lot longer. So for anybody who's been following a ketogenic diet, you kind of know that like you could start cutting out your carbohydrates, and by day 3 you're going to see this increase in your blood ketones. But for some reason you're really not experiencing the benefits of keto yet, and that's because while these things are circulating in your blood, we haven't upregulated these transporters that you were speaking about that allow us to actually effectively utilize these ketones. So I think that the real question that people are probably meaning to ask when they ask this is like, how long does it take for me to become keto adapted? And the answer to that is, again, it depends.
Yeah, I mean, it depends not only on the person and their own metabolism, but what they're doing and how they're eating. If you're eating, 75 grams of carbs, so maybe it'll take you a couple of weeks to get, keto adapted. If you're eating 0, probably going to be a little more of a struggle, but you're going to get there a little faster. If you're working out more and being more active, you're going to transition a little faster. If you're fasting a little bit more than eating, then that's going to change your adaptation period. So we have all these different parameters that can be modified.
Yeah, and I think it also depends on like what your diets looked like before you started keto. So I know for me, I was already following a relatively low carb paleo type diet before.
Slamming protein shakes.
Yeah, slamming whey protein. But I had a pretty easy transition. Like it really only took a couple days for me to feel like I was in a really good state of ketosis and experiencing the benefits. But for other people who they've been coming from a diet where, like you said, they haven't gone a day without eating under 200 grams of carbohydrates, it's going to take their body a lot longer. So as a kind of a marker for this is like if you're very insulin resistant, it's going to take your body a little bit longer to adapt to, lowering blood sugar levels, lowering insulin, burning fat, producing ketones, and then getting accustomed to utilizing those ketones. So it really comes down to what you were doing with your diet before and for how long, and that's going to kind of determine how long it's going to take you to actually get into ketosis and start effectively using these ketones.
Yeah, I mean, buff young lad like this guy here, Chris, versus an old grandmother who's overweight and has diabetes, these people are going to adapt at very, very different rates. So, I mean, what would you put a range on it? Like 1 to 8 weeks? 1 to 4 weeks? Like what?
I usually say 2 to 6 weeks, I think is what it is for most people. I think that when we talk about like getting into ketosis and getting keto adapted, a lot of it, because we don't have a great way to measure, like we can measure our ketones in our blood, but we can't measure yet in the general population if we're effectively using those ketones. So really the best measure of being keto adapted is going to be how you feel, like when you start experiencing those benefits. Most people are missing out on those benefits because they're not properly treating their keto diet by replenishing electrolytes and rehydrating. So that's leading to them having these keto flu symptoms that makes you think you're not in ketosis yet. But I think if people are effectively treating those things, they're using electrolytes the right way, rehydrating and things like that, then I think for most people by the 2-week mark, you're going to start really experiencing a lot of benefits. And as you continue following it, you're going to start experiencing them more robustly.
Yep. Could take a month and a half, says Chris. So if you're adapting now, stick it out.
Yep. Don't give up.
If you're looking to simplify everything you need to know about the world's most confusing diet, head on over to Amazon.com and pick up Keto Answers today. The best part about it is that you're not just getting basic information. It's almost like you're getting a tiny little version of me and Chris shrunk down, put in your pocket to answer every question you have along your way.
And that's not weird, it's beneficial.
It's the best.